Ambassador Young, thank you so much for meeting with us today. India's Prime Minister Singh is in Washington today, and I was wondering if we could talk just a little bit about India-U.S. relations and the potential there.
Perfect. I've long been a fan of India. I'm a disciple of Mahatma Gandhi. I say I didn't understand Jesus Christ until I read Gandhi. And I couldn't see the relevance of Christianity in the South until I saw Gandhi transform the Christian ethic into a political action philosophy. And so I've always been interested in India. I was disturbed that because of the Cold War, Kissinger and many others didn't understand that India's non-aligned position was not only in its own self-interest, but it was in our interest as well. India felt that it did not want to take sides. It wanted to build up an independent, non-aligned movement, and that non-aligned movement would help to lead to peace between the two camps of capitalism and communism. Italy did that very skillfully. As they began to realize that, their economy had been unnecessarily bureaucratic. I always say that bureaucracy is the curse of colonialism. That the colonialists created bureaucracy so that the colonies could not make decisions in their own interest until they got back to England, got back from England. And so there was always a slow decision-making process. I mean, that was true in the State Department. It took 17 different clearances to make a decision. That's absolutely ridiculous. Here in Atlanta, we had a bureaucracy that somehow it took you 7 months to get a business license and building permit. When I became mayor, I got Shirley Franklin, who was running the staff, together with our staff, and we changed it, automated it, and we went from 7 months to 7 minutes. We took red tape and we turned it into a red carpet. And that's what a global economy has to do, because the ease of trade builds up trust. It builds up a sense of fairness, and that's the path to peace. And I think we learned a lot of that from Gandhi here, and they learned a lot from us. I was proud of India for not responding. I was in India shortly after the Taj Mahal violence, and India didn't have a knee-jerk hostile reaction. They could have easily attacked, felt like they had to get even with Pakistan. Instead, they worked with Pakistan, and they have caught most of the terrorists, but instead of the terrorist act alienating them from their neighbors, they used it wisely to build a bridge. And I frankly think that if we don't listen to India and work with India, we're never going to be able to solve the problems of Afghanistan. India is almost going to have to take a major role in whatever happens in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and hopefully they're building understanding in the midst of this crisis, and that they're now strong enough in their own sense of, well, India's also looking over its shoulder at China. So you've got 1.5 billion Chinese and 1.2 billion Indians approximately. But we poured money into China. And most people think that China is ahead of India. We forget, though, that more Indians speak English, and more Indians are now comfortable with a democracy. I was in India with Coretta Scott King shortly after Dr. King was assassinated, and he received the Nehru Prize posthumously. And Indira Gandhi invited us to dinner, and she had driven, I think it was 1,300 miles, and made 11 speeches in 4 different languages in one day. And then she came home, and we went to her modest little home, and there were no servants there. And she came in, you know, we were there at 7. She got in just as we were getting there, and she and Coretta went in the kitchen and fixed dinner together. So it's a wonderful country. They're wonderful people. And we have not done enough to appreciate that.
You were saying, as a Christian minister, you think that capitalism and Christian ideals can be complementary?
I really believe that Christianity produced capitalism. I mean, I'm part of the Puritan tradition. My ancestors were educated by the Congregational Church, which came here from Europe with the philosophy that you should work hard and create goods and services and invest your money in helping others. And so they founded Harvard and Yale, and Presbyterians founded Princeton. Columbia was founded by Anglicans. But then they produced missionaries who came to Atlanta and founded Atlanta University, Howard University in Washington. There were some 500 schools and colleges that came out of this one little church. They didn't evangelize. They didn't try to make people become members of their denomination. But I learned that one of the reasons why I think Bangalore is the center of Indian technology is at the same time they were founding colleges in Atlanta, which is about 130, 40 years ago. They found the same missionaries founded colleges around Bangalore. They founded colleges in Southern Africa that produced Mandela and Bishop Tutu and the leadership there. It was a missionary movement. Now, missionaries in Hawaii, they say, did some very bad things. But overall, the Christian mission has been spreading a gospel of freedom. And a gospel of freedom produces enlightenment. And enlightenment produces productivity and at its best, sharing. Now, I think today's capitalism has forgotten that. And we are in a crisis now because we have productivity. We have profit without productivity. We have people making money by packaging paper assets that don't create any jobs, don't feed any people. And I think that's a sick capitalism. But the cure is to be productive. And if you are producing goods and services, you're feeding the hungry, you're clothing the naked, and you're healing the sick. I guess it's almost 100 million people that have come out of feudalism into a relatively modern middle-class existence in China are a result of a capitalist investment.